Welcome back, and we're back with Dana White top 10 crazy moments in UFC history. So let's go. As a result, we have compiled a list of 10 of their favorite moments from the UFC president's career in no particular order. 10. Spike TV deal. The UFC first entered the cable television market with Spike TV before signing deals with ESPN and Fox Sports. Spike TV agreed to show the Ultimate Fighter reality series in 2005, which kicked off the arrangement. The UFC agreed to pay $10 million toward the production costs as part of the arrangement. Spike TV only had to broadcast the completed product. The risk paid off as the show was a hit for Spike TV, encouraging them to produce and run further programming such as UFC Unleashed. To promote upcoming UFC pay-per-view cards, live UFC Fight Night events and UFC Countdown specials will be shown. The agreement with Spike TV, according to White, saved the UFC. White became a household name among MMA fans as a result of the contract. White's reputation rose as he was able to make more and more appearances on Spike TV as a result of his weekly appearances on The Ultimate Fighter. The UFC may have collapsed in the early 2000s if not for the Spike TV agreement, but it was able to secure a significant deal with Fox Sports in 2011 and then a massive deal with ESPN in 2018. 9. Contender Series. Some were dubious when Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, not known as Dana White's Contender Series, debuted 3 years ago. What sets this apart from the previously established The Ultimate Fighter and Dana White looking for a fight franchises? Was TUF going to be phased out because of this new show? Fortunately for us, TWCS did not turn out to be the end of the other series and instead evolved into something totally special. White is responsible for the careers of Sean O'Malley, Dan Ige, Edmund Shabaisen, Julian Marquez, and Macy Barber, to name a few. 8. Conor McGregor and Dana White's friendship. Despite what he says publicly, it's obvious who Dana White loves and doesn't like, and one of the closest relationships is between White and UFC superstar Conor McGregor. Some fans feel White allows McGregor to do anything he wants, and sometimes he does. But he also stayed by his side and believed in him when he wanted to create history. And when McGregor had a setback, he was there to console him, and a connection like that should never be questioned. 7. 7 years more. The CEO announced on March 18, 2019 that he has signed a new 7-year deal with the UFC. This statement came at a critical time for the UFC, which had just built massive new complexes in China, Las Vegas, and New Mexico. Whatever you think of White, it's clear that with him at the helm, we know what to expect, and the prospect of a new leading man may be terrifying for die-hard fans. Thankfully, we won't have to worry about it for at least another 7 years. 6. Anthony Johnson vs. Jon Jones press conference prank. The UFC hosted a press conference called Go Big in 2015 to promote their late spring and early summer events. Jon Jones and Anthony Johnson, who were scheduled to fight at UFC 187 in Las Vegas, Nevada, were among the big names on the lineup. Jones had recently defeated arch-rival Daniel Cormier in January and was coming off a 7-month heated build-up. Jones and Cormier engaged into a heated stare-down during the UFC 178 pre-fight press conference in 2014, which swiftly evolved into an all-out brawl in the MGM Grand Hotel lobby. Many others, including Johnson, are likely to have noticed. After the Big Goat press conference had concluded, the fighters squared off for photo ops, which allowed Jones and Johnson to have a little fun with UFC President Dana White. Jones imitated Johnson's push, and White jumped in between the two guys, anxious to crush something before it got bigger. Jones and Johnson started laughing after a brief period of shock, and White understands he's been pranked. Thank God for it. 5. Everyone gets a contract. Dana White, for the most part, isn't picky about who he signs to the UFC if he likes you. As a result, we get to watch the greatest of the best compete on MMA's biggest platform. But one of the most thrilling contract-related events occurred only a few weeks ago when White handed a contract to each and every winner in Dana White's Contender Series Episode 3. Dana, keep those contracts coming. 4. Dana White was punked by Mike Tyson. It's these small things that make us happy, and while Dana may not have enjoyed this particular moment, us fans certainly did. Mike Tyson, the deadliest boxer of all time, approached White in a luxurious private plane in 2014 and forcefully tapped him on the shoulder and urged him to move. No one, not even Tyson, could get White to move. 3. Conor McGregor vs. Dana White. Dana White and Conor McGregor embarked on a huge media tour to promote McGregor's championship bout with Chad Mendes, as per UFC 189. TSN Studios was one of their numerous stops for some competitive fun. At the time, EA Sports UFC 2 was the most recent version of the game, and McGregor was featured on the cover. Jose Aldo, the then champion, was played by White, who would later become a selectable character in the following video game. McGregor, of course, took on the role of himself. Both guys took part in 2 games. They were all 5 rounds long, imitating a real-life situation. In both fights, though, the judges were not required because McGregor defeated White in the opening 2 rounds. Near the end of the video, McGregor says, "EA did a fantastic job." In December of 2015, White's 2013 signee beat Aldo, concluding its spectacular rise for the Irish superstar. Business as usual remained the mantra for White. 2. Dana gets involved to put an end to McGregor-Habib Twitter dispute. Following Conor McGregor's second brief retirement from MMA, he and Habib Nurmagomedov got into a nasty and out-of-hand Twitter battle. Dana White was there to put an end to their dispute, which had already caused a lot of commotion. McGregor commented on a photo of current UFC lightweight champion Conor McGregor and his wife from their wedding, saying, "Your wife is a towel," referring to her traditional religious clothing. In response, Nurmagomedov referred to McGregor's alleged sexual assault in Ireland as a rapist. After a rush of criticism from fans and fighters, White and the UFC brass decided enough was enough, with the UFC president calling the tweets unacceptable and issuing severe behavior warnings to both sides. From the use of the UFC 223 bus incident as fight hype to the aftermath of their UFC 229 bout, White and the UFC have been criticized for letting McGregor and Nurmagomedov's feud to get too personal, yet this moment brought praise and comfort from the MMA community. 1. All those times White lost his mind. Let's face it, Dana White has always had some fairly amusing answers to events, especially when he was the UFC's top honcho early in his career. White has said it all from his early seasons of TUF, where he had no problems with saying it like it was, though his press conferences with Ariel Helwani to his responses to fighters' octagon outings. Many people may now argue that White was being overly severe on specific people at these times. Remember, this is a man who helped transform the UFC into a billion-dollar corporation, and it's times like these that show us how he accomplished it. Sure, they're funny, and they may be a little over the top at times, but these are the kinds of reactions you need when you're in charge of hundreds of fighters trying to make it big and make a living. Whether you love or hate White, there's no denying that he's passionate about what he does, and whether you're a TUF fighter looking for a contract or a champion defending your title, you aren't safe from White tearing you apart if he believes it's necessary. Whatever follows will surely come to you as a surprise, but we'll make sure to be the first ones to deliver it to you. Stay tuned to know more. Until then, stay safe. Before you leave, make sure to share, subscribe, and like the video. Bye!